Well, good morning, church. Thank you for joining us for our daily Devo. Today we're in Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 to 12, focusing on the Beatitudes that start at verse 3. And if we look at this, I really think we can break it down into three areas. As we follow Christ, we're to come to Him empty. We are to be changed within, and then we ought to be faithful in following Him. The first verse is starting in verse 3, where it says, "Blessed are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." I think this is those pictures of us coming to Him poor in spirit, realizing that we don't have the ability to live a life pleasing to God in our own power. We have to depend on Him. We have to mourn. We have to step away from this world. We have to pull back and mourn the sin in this world, the brokenness of the world we live in. And see, the simple application is this: are we acting self-sufficient, or are we acting dependent on God? And so the first part when we come to God is we have to empty ourselves. Second, we have to realize that change comes from within. If we go on and we read the verses, going to verse 5, it says, "Blessed are those who are humble, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God." If we look at this, all this change is happening from within. I mean, we look at being meek, being merciful, being pure, being a peacemaker. In a sense, that meekness is not weakness. I love how it's been said that meek means power under control. We're merciful. That means we're to be forgiven. One of the things we're to challenge, just as God has forgiven us, we are to forgive others. We are to be pure in heart. That is a single-mindedness. The word there means unadulterated, nothing else added to it. Single heart on fire for Him. And we're to be peacemakers. A peacemaker is not someone who seeks peace at all costs, but someone who's willing to work to bring together parties that are separated. For us to bring people who are separated from God into a relationship with God. So we come to an empty, and then we're changed from within. The third section is we're to stay faithful when tested. And let me read this, starting at verse 10. It says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for the kingdom of heaven is there. You are blessed when they insult you and persecute you and falsely say every kind of evil against you because of me. Be glad and rejoice, because your reward is great in heaven. For that is how they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The idea here is that we are to be faithful in the tests and pressures that we feel in this life. First, when we're persecuted for righteousness. Now understand, it's not when we're being persecuted because we've done something dumb. Not when we're being persecuted because we made a mistake. It's because we're following Him. And you know, for a lot of us, in the time we live in the United States, we don't face the same kind of persecution they did. But there are times when we choose God, it may mean relationships are broken. When we choose to stand for righteousness when others don't. When we choose not to break the rules, not to deceive, because we know it's the right thing to do. Or we stand up for Christ and we're willing to boldly proclaim Him and to state our relationship with Him. And so when this happens, when we're faithful and we suffer for it, He says we are to rejoice and be glad. That is, we're to see the bigger perspective and understand that what we're facing ultimately is nothing compared to eternity. And there will be a time we're going to be rewarded more than we ever suffered. And because of that, we want to understand that we stand for what is right. And we can rejoice in Him. We can be glad even when we go through tough times, knowing that when we're pleasing God, no matter what we face in this life, there'll be a time we stand before God and we can hear that, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So guys, remember, we are to come to God and empty ourselves. We are to be changed from the inside out, and then we are to stand faithfully for Him, following Him, proclaiming Him, and being who He's called us to be in Him, to bring the message of hope to the world that is around us. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for our daily Devo. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you'll continue with us tomorrow.